something else you and I have in common, Art, is we both walked away from. We were once diehard Lions fans, and then for me, when Barry left, I have to tell you, I stopped watching. Like, I started watching to make from the time Barry retired to this last season. Like, I didn't watch any games. Like, I saw bits and pieces of Calvin Johnson here and there. But last season, the first 5 or 6 games, I would see all my friends on Facebook going to and giving the Lions all their money. And I was just so I started watching Lions games almost to make fun of them. Like, what are you doing? And the first game I started watching, and when I say it watching, I would watch the entire game, was the first game they won after starting 1-6. And then I would watch, and then they won another time, and then they won again. And I have to tell you, by the end of the season, with the help of Dan Miller's enthusiasm, I am not only drinking the Lions Kool-Aid again, Art, I am guzzling it like I haven't had a drink in a long time. Have you gone back? I've seen you post Michigan Panther stuff, but have you gone back and looked at the Lions this past season? And what's your forecast on that?
Don't get me started on the Panthers. I mean, I love, I mean, I'm going back to Bobby Hebert, John Corker, David Greenwood, and of course Anthony Carter. I mean, I love that team, and I will say this without question, regardless of sport, their home and road uniform is one of the best of all time.
Love it.
There's no question. I mean, it is outstanding. Now, getting back to the Lions, I became Lion free one day. It was early in the season. I was driving down to Ford Field to go to the Lions game, and I had an epiphany. And I was driving, and I was getting onto 96 off of Middle Belt, and I was talking to myself. I wasn't talking out loud, just in my head. And I said, "Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to yourself? Why do you allow this pathetic team to rule your life? Do you care? Why are you going?" And then I swear to God, it was a nice sunny day. It was early September. And it was like beam of light came down from me in a choir of angels. And I don't know if it was God himself or I guess Jesus, if you believe they're not the same person. I don't know. I don't want to get into religion, but there was a voice, a distinct voice that said, "You don't have to go." And I said, "You're right." And I turned around and I drove home, and I've never been back. And Joey Harrington was the quarterback. So it goes to show you how long ago that was. I have been Lions free. I am not emotionally attached to that team. I don't wish them any ill will. I like Bill Ford Jr. a lot. I don't know Sheila Hemp, is it? She dropped the Ford now. I don't know her. She seems to be doing a good job. Dan Campbell reminds me of the dude from The Big Lebowski.
I'm the dude.
The dude, I mean, I just think the way he looks, I just wish that somebody, and I've told you this before, Ron, would make a T-shirt of Dan Campbell in a bathrobe with a headset on, with a clipboard in one hand, and a white Russian in the other, and the Dan abides or something. I mean, I think people would sell it. He reminds me of the dude. That's awesome. I mean, his personality, I think I do think he's a motivator. I think he's an excellent coach, and maybe the Lions have it right for a change. Maybe they do, but I became Lions free, and I really, really appreciate what they're doing. This is what I've always said too, Ron, about the Lions. If they make it to the Super Bowl, and I used to do this bit on the radio, we know eventually the Lions will make it to the Super Bowl. I may not be alive, but eventually they're going to make it. We all know they're going to lose that game. They're not going to win it. They will not win. But in typical Lion fashion, how will they lose the Super Bowl? Yeah. What will happen that the Lions, how are they going to lose it? Now, I will tell you another time when I got emotional about the Lions and was pissed, was the playoff game in Dallas where they picked up a flag and reversed the call. The Lions would have won that game. And just like Barry, though, I blame the Lions for being such an inept organization for so long. They have no credibility or respect throughout the league. Sure. The HBO show, Hard Knocks,
yeah, Hard Knocks,
did more to elevate the Lions and give them credibility than anything this organization has ever done. And they've had iconic players. Calvin Johnson, obviously Barry, perhaps the best running back of all time. I'm just saying that for me, I say this now. If the Lions get to the Super Bowl, even though I don't expect them to win it, not only will I be on the bandwagon, I will be driving the freaking thing. You know, I mean, I do want it, but I have been able to
cut the cord, so to speak. Yeah.
Emotionally divorce myself from the Detroit Lions. I am truly Lions free, and I think people say, well, you'll comment or you'll post on them. Yeah, but I'm not. You know, when the Lions lose now, or even when I don't care.
Right.
You know, and I can honestly say, if I have something else to do, or I don't watch them. You know, I just don't. I like pro football. How it comes to me now when I watch pro football, the way I pick a team to root for is when I scan the game, either how many players are from Detroit on each roster or how many players played for Michigan. You know, and so, you know, obviously, wherever Tom Brady was playing, I was a big fan. But I'm saying that, you know, that's what it's pro football's been reduced for me, Ron. It really has, and I have nobody to thank but the Lions. You know, right. I mean, you can talk about Barry, but I can go back to Ron Jesse. Doug English quit a year as an All-Pro because he could make more money. They've always had a tough time treating their players well. I can remember. I forgot who Jeff Harding's, the year he was drafted, I think it was Chuck Schmidt, who they had 2 number 1 picks. I'm not sure who the other, I'm going to say Reggie Rogers, but I don't know if that was the case. But they had 2 guys, and they signed one early and basically gave him all the rookie money or something. And Chuck Schmidt was like, you know, so Harding sat forever. You know, and eventually left Detroit to be in Pittsburgh, became an All-Pro. You know, Jeff Harding's great lineman. So I'm sitting there, and I remember Schmidt's quote was, well, I got the best of that agent. You know, he screwed his client because he didn't negotiate, and I signed, you know, so-and-so, whoever the other player was. And I'm sitting to myself thinking, really? Is that who you screwed here? You're bragging about screwing a player that you're going to want to play for you and, you know, be loyal to the organization? Or did you screw me, the fans, because here's a great player that you said, well, I'm going to, you know, for lack of a better term, and excuse me, I'm going to dick with this guy. You know, I'm a bean counter. I know that his agent messed up. The numbers aren't going to be there what he wants. He's going to eventually have to settle for what I'm going to offer him, you know, and I feel great about that. That's not a way to run a team. I'm sorry. That's just, especially to treat high-end draft choices. You know, I think you want to build a relationship with those guys and want them to be Lions and want to be part of a winning organization. The Lions never seem to be able to do that for a variety of different reasons. And maybe now they're about to. I hope they are.
Optimistic, yeah.
Yeah, but I wish the dude wish Dan the dude the best.
Well, that's just your opinion, man. Isn't that what he says in the movie?
Right.
So
man, it's like, you know, man, I can't believe we lost, man.